Thank you for being here with us on Hope from Africa today, where we talk about Pan-Africanism, but also let people know the story of Africans living abroad. And on this platform, we are happy to have you here. And so for our listeners, can you tell us who you are and what you're doing here?
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm Ivan. My name is Ivan. I come from Rwanda, specifically Kigali, and I'm doing my master's in molecular life sciences at Bethlehem University. I've been here for only 6 months. This is my first year. Well, I hope that's enough for now.
So just to set the context, before you came, what were you doing in Rwanda?
Yeah, I was working in Rwanda. I finished my bachelor's degree from the UAE, and then I took a 1.5 year break when I was working in Rwanda. And then after that 1.5 years, I came to the Netherlands to continue my education in a rather different environment from what I was working, because I was working in industry. I would say that it was on a more chemical engineering and process engineering side. But when I came here, I started doing masters in molecular life science, which is more chemistry and biology, pretty different.
So since we've started about the technical kind of difference, I think I'll just go a little bit in there. Like I said, this is not a structured interview. So it's a conversation, so we can talk about almost everything. So how then are you finding the study program here, since it's kind of a little bit of a difference with what you were doing back?
I would say that it's more on the difficult side, but at the same time, it's nothing I haven't seen before. It's the advanced level of the things I've seen before, even though they're different, because I did my bachelor's in chemistry, and that's in pretty much everything I use in my work and also the things I'm using right now. Even though it was a very portion of what I studied, what I was using in the industry, but also what I'm studying is rather another portion of what I studied before. So it's pretty much the same thing I've seen, but on a whole different pace and a whole different level. So it lies on the difficult side, but at the same time, it's not 100% new to the extent I would say that I'm clueless.
Sometimes I tend to believe that these difficulties we face sometimes also just probably how the Dutch educational system is structured, in the form of you have 6 periods in a year, and then you take a course, and then within it, you have to kind of learn a lot of things. Do you think that, I don't know, do you tend to agree with this, or have you observed that back in Ghana where I did my bachelor, we would have a semester, which would be a very long thing. You might take a course, you have a lot of time to, get to be explained to, and those kind of, here in a period, you probably are taking 1 course or mostly 2 courses. That is if you have like a lot of courses to take, 2 courses, right?
Yeah.
And very short period of time, 1 month, 2 months.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Do you think that is also one of the factors that's...
Yeah, obviously. Before, I too was in a system that uses semesters. And in the middle of the semester, there was a midterm. So you can have had like 1 month of making mistakes and trying to understand where you are. But here you spend 1 month and it's already the final examination. And the professor's in front of you say, yeah, but come on, get up. The exam is coming in a minute. And you don't even know what's going on already. You don't have time to recover. It's pretty stressful. And to this day, I haven't been used to it, to be honest. I was talking to my brother this morning, and last week, a few weeks ago, I told him that I was preparing for an exam. And then last week, I told him that I was actually taking an exam. And this morning, I told him that I have another exam in 2 weeks. And he couldn't even understand exactly what I'm going through. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense either to me or to people outside. But, well, I guess I'm going to get used to it.
Yeah, there are a few tricks in this system that you ought to kind of understand how it works, which I'll tell you off camera. But yeah, it was difficult for all of us. I also did my master's here. I told you I did my master's. For the first period, I did 3 courses. And in back again, that is very difficult to do.
Yeah,
3 courses in a period. And at the end of the period, I told my friends, I'm not going to write each of these. I was like, I'm going to fill all the courses. I'll fill it. And then I was lucky enough, there was this Nigerian lady who was here, and also a Rwanda lady also, and she's gone back, who they sat me down and they taught me everything in the course before I managed to pass like those courses. Even then, in the grade that I passed with, I was not very happy with it. It's like, but how?
You always feel like you can do better.
But how? Until I met one Dutch colleague and I asked, what was the grade you got? He says, I had a 5.6. I passed. Very happy. The guy was too happy.
That's mediocre to some of us, especially when we come here coming from the schools we ruled, we're like the smartest people. Even the teachers talk about you of classes, and then you come to the place where you're not just normal, you also below normal to some extent. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but that is the reality here. So that brings us to our discussion for today.
Mm-hmm.
In the space of going through all this in your mind, trying to settle in, how do you balance education with social life?
Difficult, to say the least. It's difficult. For the 3 first months, I barely had any social life, I could say so. I would only encounter people. I would only talk to people that I encounter in classes or the same African fellows, because we all struggle in the same way when we get here. And then there is this guy from Sierra Leone. He lives at the same accommodation I stay at, and he would come and knock on my door and say, "Man, have you made friends here?" I'm like, "What does friends mean in this country?" It sense to me at all. And then I realized I'm not the only one in that boat. Everybody else is in that boat. When things get to put you on the pace where they are right now and you balance it trying to find with friends, it doesn't really get easy. I'd say that I deliberately stepped out of that little cocoon you construct yourself around yourself. I deliberately did step out and try to talk to people like with the proper intention of actually trying to make them friends. Before, I never did try to make a person a friend. I just wanted to talk to a person and then eventually we could become friends. But here, you gotta do it. Like, you deliberately have to do it. Otherwise, your mental health is gonna suffer. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you been successful in?
If we subject that to measurable numbers, I would say that I'm not 100% successful, but I would say that I've got acquaintances that I would consider friends to some extent, or in certain situations, but not the same friends I had back at home or back in college.
At all?
No.
You'll never have it.
It's never gonna happen.
You'll never have it.
You don't make me hopeless yet. I still believe I can do it.
So one thing that I usually tell, but I discuss with my friend is, and we say it in Ghana, we say it in our local language, we say that this abroad that we came, we are not feeling it, basically, not completely because the Netherlands is just like that, but it is because of the community we find ourselves in. If you had been in Amsterdam and if you were in Amsterdam, how is it called? I've forgotten the place. But it's between Amsterdam and Zuid and it's that place where there's a lot of Africans there. You would probably think you are living in your country.
I need to go there.
That is completely an Africanized community. And so the kind of experience is almost as the same as living in your country. But it's entirely different in this setting that we are. Wageningen is a student life. People just come here for schooling. Many people, when they are coming, they build their kind of circles. The Dutch people, they build their circles in their high schools and those kind of things. And they are just coming to get education and go their way. They're not willing to break that circle.
Yeah.
They're not willing to let anybody into that circle. Even if the circle is not within Wageningen, they just come here during the week or the weekend. They go and they meet the colleagues or the friends. So this is why it's very difficult. So when they meet you on a kind of a transactional level. And I say transactional because they meet you because we study. You are my classmates, so we just talk in that sense. And that is where it ends. After that transaction, it ends there. After the class, it ends there.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I also have seen that Wageningen brings in people who are already friends. Dutch people have this culture of making friends and go to school together and move in the same cities. I've been with classmates more than, I would say, 3 pairs that told me we've been friends since we were 5. They're friends at 5. They get to the same primary school, same secondary school. They decided to join Wageningen together. Penetrating these kind of social networks is pretty difficult, especially when you look different. We're not going to really lie, because you also have to introduce where you're from, what the kind of things they have to expect from you. And they're not here to do that amount of work. It's difficult.
That comes into the circles that I was talking about and breaking into it, which makes it really difficult. But what even makes it more difficult is, for me, is also how ourselves as Africans, how we tend to treat ourselves. And lucky for guys, it's a different game. The ladies is even more difficult, Once they stay in it for about 6 months, 7 months, they start picking a lot of bit of behaviors from here. They start building boundaries and they overbuild the boundaries. And see, as an African, there is always that thing in you. See, when we were back in Ghana, if I have an issue, I can just walk to anybody and talk to like any of my friends, I talk to. That degree of freedom you had in terms of social life and those kind of things, it's difficult to kind of throw all of that away in just 6 months or 1 year of being. But they don't realize it. They think, oh, I'm being what the people, Americans would say Americanized. I want to say Dutchalized, but whatever it is. And so what happens and what I realized, they will do such things, they wouldn't even realize the impact until they are in the second year and they start getting to realize they are, for the lack of a better word, super lonely. Some of the guys also do same thing. So now it becomes difficult building a friendship with Dutch people or white people here and going ahead to build friendship with your own colleagues. Now, I don't know if you realize, for me, it's really, really difficult, okay, even now, approaching any white colored person to make my friend.
I cannot blame you. I cannot blame you. When I started working in Rwanda, it's just a little bit of a story. I was working with this guy from Uganda, the country, right? She was Ugandan, but also she was white. She had lived in Uganda for like 30 years. She had gotten the citizenship, but she was white. And then most people at work would say, how did you marry a white woman? And he said, I did not marry a white woman. She married me. And we used to think it's just a stupid joke until we realized exactly what he wanted to say. The white woman approached him, which is more of a blasphemy in our culture, if I can say it like that. But still, we still have that kind of a thing because we got used to the thing that white people are either untouchable or they're there for just transactional issues, either work or their own projects they do in our countries. And it gets to the level where our unconscious are kind of programmed to not approach them unless we do these things specifically, especially when you come to study. Your professor is white. A classmate is white, yeah, but he doesn't feel as a classmate. He feels like he owns the country you came to seek education in. So approaching these kind of people is difficult. I would say that you're not alone in that boat. Everybody is, to be honest. Everybody is. And what's funny is that they're also kind of afraid to approach it because maybe there is this wall they built around themselves, They do not belong there for long. If I build a relationship with this person, they're going to leave. And they're also thinking about the same thing. I'm not going to be sure if I'm going to stay here for long. If I build a relationship with this person, I'm going to leave. It's not just the difference. It's also the friction that is caused by experiencing, not expecting what you might experience when it ends,
Yeah, I know this is even, for me, things even gets a little bit complicated, especially also in this very city that we are, the whole issue of wokeness, for the lack of a better word, why people are super sensitive.
Yeah.
If you have to talk to somebody, then you need to first think of what I'm gonna say. Is it gonna hurt this person or not? I used to have a lady friend in my office.
Yeah.
A colleague actually, who she came from Italy, and then when she came, she was like, "Hey, I would like to see around and those kind." And I'm not that kind of person I would every week try at least to either take a walk around, do something, even if I have nowhere to go, just take a walk around or something. So she's like, "Oh, come on and walk with you," and those kind of things. So we would just laugh in the office here and there. We'll take a walk, like personal walk. And this girl will go to the forest with me. We'll just walk. And then one day, this even happened in the office. Like we were having a conversation and someone was there, someone from Rwanda.
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation. I want to remember exactly what it said. Yeah. And then she mentioned something about, it was kind of a relationship, right? We're talking about relationship stuff. She mentioned something about, I think it's been a while, but she said open relationship or something of that sort, right? So, and I remember someone asked, what do you mean by open relationship? Like, she didn't, he wanted to get a concept. So the girl was like, well, you are in a relationship with me. No, okay, it was friends with benefits. Taking about friends with benefits. And then it was like, is that also kind of a relationship? Someone was like, is that a relationship kind of style? It's like, I just my friend, but if we feel it, we can just smash and something.
Yeah.
And then someone was like, what? kind of, those kind of things. We were kind of having those discussion, and literally she was the lead, like she was the one leading the conversation. And then after some time, she said she was having, after the conversation died off, she said she was having headache, so she went home. And the next day, she did not come to the office. The following day, she did not come. So someone was like, why haven't your friend come to the office? And I'm like, I don't know. She said, you should find out. So I just sent her a text. Hey, you haven't been to the office. What's up? It says, that conversation we were having the last time, you said something that I didn't like. I was like, what did I say?
Bad news.
I didn't know. I had no idea. Really no idea.
There was no way to know, right?
You have to tell me. And
Yeah.
even when you tell me, I am positioned in my mind when I look at you to call you a hair. It is not my doing that I was not intentionally that I want to kind of disregard what you are called, how I was brought up.
Yeah.
Right. So in as much as you want me to respect that is who you are, I think you should also respect that this is who I am. And to get to understand that I don't say something just to kind of, but this is also me, my brought up. This is my position in the country I grew up. There is nothing like other genders,
Yeah.
But what that whole situation brought to is sensitivity. Like when you are talking to someone or you're approaching somebody, for me, I'm just asking, is this a lady or a guy? How am I going to, what should I say so that it doesn't offend this person? Those kind of things. I'm sure it is too early for you. You haven't probably experienced it, but that's...
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I did. I was on a train going to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And then I was sitting to the edge of the seat. And then there was this other person that was sitting. I'm just avoiding pronouns to this day. We were sitting close to the window, right? And then she was holding a bag, but she had like 2 bags and she wanted me to hold one while she was searching for her OV cheap card to get scanned by the train conductor. And then I was holding the bag like this. And the woman said, no, you shouldn't really hold 2 bags just placed on the floor. Sometimes they're too nice to tell you things like that. And I was like, no, it's not mine. It's just hers. And she was like, I'm like, I mean, it was very awkward. I didn't say a thing after that, but I was like, okay, yeah. I'm not in Rwanda anymore.
Yeah, but this also makes like things really, really complicated. And for me, frankly speaking, after that day, that lady in my office, I didn't talk to her again. She would come around, she would invite us for pizza at her place. She wants to cook for us. She would come to the office with part of the food because I didn't come. And I'm like, dude, you told me to take you around. And frankly speaking, I have like, you've joined me for my walks. My normal walks around. You've joined me for more than 3 times in just a period of, how do you call it? In just a period of 1 month, within 1 month that you've been here, we've gone for walk. So it means that 3 weeks of the 1 month, all the time I went for, because I do walk around just once in a week. You trained me. If I had to do something like one day I was going to go to the Rhine, I was like, oh yeah, you had asked me, so I'll test you. Oh yeah, I'll join you. And then you come around. And then all of a sudden, in just one conversation, you think that I am just trying to, and I didn't even realize all that time when I was working with her that this was who she was. Yeah. I mean, or whether she was a he or, because it's a female, biological female, right?
Yeah.
And she was something else. I mean, so from there, I didn't know how to talk to this person anymore.
I mean, I cannot blame you.
Anyways,
I cannot blame you.
That is just that just came around, and there was something I wanted to ask you when you were talking first, but I kind of forgot. But so in the space of this, how do you ensure? Because frankly speaking, all of this can be very heavy on your mental state, and how do you ensure that you get a striving balance?
Movies exist. Yeah, movies exist, but I've also, I would say that I found survival in the hobbies. I've got plenty of hobbies. I like playing basketball. Even though I'm alone, I can actually play basketball. Take a ball to the court. There is a free court at the uni. I play. I also play music. I can play piano. There is a building at the campus. I usually go there.
Piano. Do you play guitar as well?
No, I suck at guitar.
I was going to give you one right now.
Okay, I have to impress your audience. I got to learn some riffs to do.
Yeah, try it.
I cannot.
Just something small.
I cannot.
What can you do?
Do not embarrass me.
Just something.
I just know how to hold it. If you told me to talk, to give you a rhythm music, this I can. But no, I don't know. I don't even know how to play any code. I actually think that's the reason why I I played piano.
Let's put this aside.
My fingers couldn't handle it. Back to the point, I was saying that I really immerse myself in my hobbies. I have this little thing I do when I'm watching a movie. I kind of journal about it, which is like a review, but nothing official, just my own hobby. I think I do spend a lot of time doing that, especially on weekends. And it doesn't make me feel like I'm lonely or doesn't make me feel like I have to depend so much on social life, which is not a healthy thing, by the way, because people got to be social to survive, you know? I would say that I survived so far.
So how many movies have you kind of reviewed? So
I like to review series. So since September, I would say 4.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So what if we create a platform on this podcast and then all you do is to put your reviews out?
Yeah, I will still your audience. They would start asking my channel.
I mean, if that is what the audience are interested in, why not?
Yeah, we can do it. We can just have a time where I come here and then we decide to talk about a certain movie. And then, you know, some people can actually comment, I do not agree with that. Did you see that too? Yeah, we can do it. I'm happy to do that.
That is a good part. I mean, because if it's something that you're passionate or you do, then why not? I mean, it could be fun, but it could also someday maybe be money. Who knows?
Who knows, yeah? I mean, it's 2026. Anything can be changed into money at this point. Yeah.
So
who knows? I might try to do it.
Yeah,
Let's give it a try sometime.
Yes. I think we should just think about it.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've always been looking for a partner for this.
Okay.
Yeah. So why not? Made a little bit of investment into all this studio kind of things.
How is it doing it with? Okay, still on the topic of balancing your academic life with the social life. How is it now? Balancing your social life, academic life, and all of these.
Let me tell you one thing. So there was something I wanted to say when you were talking. One of my best years in academic life was the second year of my master's. It was amazing. I met this beautiful Greek girl. It was nice.
My attention.
We dated for like a year. You know, for some reason I find people from Greece to be very open to Africans. But then later I realized that there is a colonial history and kind of they look at you in a certain kind of, even though they are open to you, it is because of a certain condescending reasoning that I can't open now. But if you go to some part of Greece, a certain island, I'm just giving you an example. I don't want to. There is this people trying to enter into Europe or from Africa and they get to that island. And that is why many Greek women go for free sex or sex at a cheaper price, you know. So one thing I realized, I was super happy with her. I would lie. The beginnings of things, when I started with her, I was a playboy. So I wasn't into her that much. I had a Nigerian lady who a Muslim girl, but it wasn't really because she was Muslim. You know, we knew that this is not gonna go anywhere. And yeah, but she was still there. You know, she would tell everybody she meets, every African she meets, oh, do you know Eben? Eben is my girl, my boyfriend. She would tell everybody, and that actually caught me. Like I started thinking, what if this girl really likes me?
You actually playing?
Yeah, and I started thinking, I started falling for her. I got too much into it. And then I think that when the fun and the excitement and all those things died down after a year, that was when I realized, dude, okay, so let's say around that time, things didn't go well. We kind of separated. But then I realized that, okay, about 10 months into it, when the fun and everything went down, she was actually going around for fucking all the other black.
Yeah.
Which, anyways, long story short, it didn't work, right? So we separated. But of course, she had something to do with some other people's wives. And I wouldn't fault her. At the beginning, I was also not into that, right?
Yeah.
But of course, she got me in there. But so what I'm just trying to say was, in that phase, it was a very nice and social life. I had a very cool social life. The balance, traveling around, going to Spain, new cards, super touristic area, like for summer, friends, you know. stay there for 2 weeks, fun, come back, go to Slovenia. It was really nice, like building friends and those kind of things. And I kind of it just cut off after the masters. It just cut off, like everybody's gone their way. You don't even get to talk to them anymore. God, I was like, I trust them, and I have like very good friends that like I went to Ghana with, Dutch people that I went to Ghana with,
Yeah.
because they, and they are still here, but you send them chats, it's even difficult to meet up just for a coffee.
I got hurt.
And that's why I say it's kind of contractual thing, right? So
Yeah.
for them, it was the period of doing the course, there was the vibe. You were my course mates. It's
Yeah.
not even my classmates.
That's difficult.
It's just
At the end of this period, it's over.
go back.
Shit.
You're my
Yeah.
course mate, that's
Yeah.
just it. And that can get hurt. So over the years, once I got that, I started like, okay, I need to take care of my mental health myself, right?
Mhm.
I'm somebody that would usually not like have a Netflix or pay for Netflix. No, in
Mhm.
Ghana, I wouldn't pay. I'll get still some local movies to watch.
Yeah.
But here, I have to pay for it, And the norm, I like to going normally on a Friday evening when I'm watching Netflix, and you come to my room, you think I'm in a cinema. But I create that ambience for myself.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that there is have a visitor here or not. There is no visitor. Like I go, I get a scented candle at the city.
Yeah.
Action. I turn it on here. I sit on this thing. I bring all the sofa stuff down
Yeah.
there. Just to create that kind of ambience. I watch my Netflix. On the Saturday, if I don't do anything at all, I need to go to Columbus Coffee with somebody that will be sitting on the other end of it. Or try as much as possible to, on a Saturday, have discussions with people. I used to have some people that I used to visit a lot of times.
Okay.
But I also realized that they didn't really appreciate it. And one day I just sat down and I realized, okay, I'm pretty much after this social kind of life that I go to visit these people all the time. It's been 2 years, or let's say 1 year of living here, and I can count the number of times they've come to this place twice. One of them was my birthday, and then the other one was. So I was like, no, it does not make sense. That is not mutual.
Think you shouldn't take it personal, to be honest. I mean, mutual things are rare, especially when you're a person in a country you weren't born in or raised in, isn't it?
What, in a year? What? In a year?
But that's a lot.
And I have been to their place uncountable times, uncountable. At least, if not anything, I know that once a week I've been to their place.
Wow. At least they showed up on your birthday. But also, I think another thing we keep ignoring, which is exactly the same thing that happened today when I was coming here. I kind of hesitated to be, I was about to contact you. I might be a little bit late because of the weather. This weather cannot allow you to socialize.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been here in the summer months yet, but I believe if the longest of the year is like this, I don't think it's very good, especially for people like us who know that socializing is to be outside, is to walk, is to be at a river, or just an open space. Right now, no. Because sometimes I wake up and I open my windows, I cannot even see the sun. Like, how am I even gonna smile to a person when the weather's not even helping me right now? So I gotta help, doesn't it? Especially when I used to socialize in sports a lot when growing up, and I like outdoor sports. So when I started playing here, basketball and football, sometimes I'll see on the group chat, today's training is cancelled, and I'm like, dude, come on. That's the only way I could actually meet people or actually spend time outside this room.
Yeah.
I think we have to give some kudos to the weather. It doesn't help us at all.
Yeah, that is a very good point that you made. It's the most tragic, and then it also keeps people stay indoors, those kind of things all the time. And no, it's a very valid point. But you see, here is the problem. During summer, also the African community also now tends to start working. I'm not saying people should not work and make money. You should work and make money, but people don't realize that I couldn't go out. I couldn't be friendly. I couldn't do all the things during the bad weather, for still the weather is not cool. But maybe summer is the time I could make most of building social life. And instead of like planning ahead and putting some kind of fun activities, at least even once a week, you will see, because also here in the Netherlands, during summer, there's kind of a lift on I don't know if they still do it, but there is a limit on how many hours a student can work.
Yeah.
So on the norm, you can do 16 hours a week. That is the maximum. But during summer, they kind of lift it and people can do as many hours that they want to do. And that is where you see people not even making time for themselves and
Yeah.
doing all kind of work. I mean, I'm not saying people should not make money, but again, they don't think about the mental health, the state of mind and all those kind of things. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen people who were super healthy, super smart, has ended up being recommended to go and see the psychiatrist. I have seen,
Oh.
yeah, it's that bad. I have seen people that somebody that came and started having mental issues and they have to take the person.
Okay, that's scary then.
It's not that it happens to all the people,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that I will say that many people here are just, let's say, click away from getting to that point.
You get it. The Netherlands is the first country with the work-life balance. Yeah,
Exactly.
the word is, it's strange. It is strange because they don't give people breaks. Look at this system of learning we were talking about earlier. You have an exam. I think there is a spring break right now in Europe, because I was talking to one of my family members who live in France, and she was saying that they are on a break right now. Even some teachers at school are on a break, but we don't. As a matter of fact, we've got exams in 2 weeks now. So when I look at these and realize that these people still function and balance the two, makes me believe them we probably are in a system haven't been used to yet. And that could be it. I think that could be it. Sometimes you gotta give ourselves some time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really late. Late to make yourself sometime. One of the ladies, I think she came with your badge, right? She came
What's her name?
What's her name? She came to see me and she was talking to me about trying to get some job or work done because everybody that she knows or she's seeing is working and those kind of things. And I'm like, dude, how are you managing the academics? It's very bad. How are you managing social life? It's very bad. And like, balance this. You didn't work to it. You are here for like just 6 months.
Yeah, just be patient.
You're a Christian. He said, yeah. I'm like, have you heard the Bible quotation that you can't serve two gods? Yeah. I'm like, when you add money to it, money on its one is a god. Your education is another god that you're serving now. You have to find a balance between this and never tell me that there is not going to be a trade-off. There's going to be a trade-off. So when this and this comes in, you know what suffers? Your social life.
Yeah.
Suffers at the end. And once the social life suffers, your life suffers. So I kind of tell people, especially students that come here, and if you're on a scholarship, I'm like, be very careful how you try to pick everything and add. Some of us make those kind of mistakes, and you only meet some of us that would be very open to you that what we did, we've realized that it's a mistake. Because frankly speaking, Africans in Europe, we usually speak the partial truth, selective truth. Even when we realize that it's a mistake, instead of telling the next person that what I did was a mistake, we keep pushing actually the responsibility to people. I've seen people who have done theses here and in the end got 6, was given a 6. And I keep telling people that my internship, I did a research practice internship. Things were not that right. But I think that if I had been a little bit extra careful and dropped many of the things that I was doing, I would do much better. I didn't get a bad grade in my internship. I got a 7.5, but I was very, very unhappy with the grade.
You expected more?
Yeah, because I thought I did a very good work. Like I did way beyond. But even though I did a very good work, which was acknowledged, the internship was graded based on the report. So my supervisor was the only person that knew the good work that I did to that point. But the examiner didn't see the good work I did. He only saw the report, right? And at the time of writing the report, I was doing other stuff and I couldn't think very well. I couldn't write. You might not recognize that it's having an effect on your cognitive ability, but it's actually having effect on your thinking, how to reason and put things in the abstract terms and still bring it down to you. It's having an effect. And then in the end, people will get a 6. Even me, 7.5 was not happy, but people will get a 6. I've seen people get like a pass mark for thesis, right? And they will not take responsibility. And they will be the same people that when new student comes, they will start saying, oh, you can take this cleaning work here. You can take this kind of work here. You can take this kind of work here. And these students, they will start with, oh, I'm just doing 3 hours in a week. And then you realize, oh yeah, I've gotten used to it. Oh, maybe I can take more. And they get to doing 3 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And then in the rain, they are in it. In the sun, they are in it. They are doing worse. They don't realize it. But what you're doing is trading off the quality of academics you can get. And I was telling this girl, you better build a good research skills. That even if after here you don't get a job, day after the masters you don't get, or you don't stay, because not everybody wants to stay. When you go back to Africa, it will not be somebody in Africa in the office will be telling you how to do certain things. The money aspects is a very delicate topic when you're talking about, especially within our circles. And when I tell people about it, they say, you are rich already. So
Yeah.
that's what they tell me. They say I'm rich. I don't know how they think I am, but they say you are rich already. So that's what you would say. That is not the point. I've made certain mistakes and I drive on that mistake. And you will speak to a lot of people and they will tell you, oh yeah, the lecturer gave me this, the lecturer did not like me, but they will not tell you what they were doing.
Well, I think it's also the same reason why. Have you ever been in a situation where you're talking about getting grades? It's okay. Let me talk about my personal point of view. I was talking to a potential thesis supervisor and I was asking her what I like in terms of skills. And then she gave me a list of things because I was honest with her. I was saying, okay, my background doesn't really correlate exactly with your topic. So here's what I do not know. You might add what I have to know. And she told me, when are you planning to work on them? I said, well, I've got plenty of time in the summer. And she was like, no, this is not the time to work. And she was really blatant with me. She said, you have to rest in the summer. So when you come back with the thesis, you actually work. And that's exactly where it correlates because we tend to ignore things because we think we are over preparing or making sure we're good. And then we do worse because we never cared about the other aspects of lifestyle and of academics. Yeah, I agree. You just rang a bell exactly when you told me about your thesis.
Exactly. And you see, I told this person that when I got to understand this, I switched chair groups, but it was also something happened and I went to another chair group. I did my master's thesis there from my master's internship too. So I switched and I went to another chair group. I did my master's thesis there. When I was doing the thesis, I dropped everything, every other thing, focus on the thesis, have a social life. When on Fridays, come watch my Netflix, make my room what it is to be my movie theater, watch my Netflix in my room, try to do some walk around, go see friends, those kind of things. Just that and focus on my thesis. When the day I told my supervisor that I am done with my thesis, I want to submit, he read the thing and says, if you do 2 more things, I am not the examiner, but if you add 2 more things to this thesis, I'm sure you'll get a 9. And I'm like, if I don't add, how much would I get? He says, I'm sure you are ranging between 8 and an 8.5. And I was saying, okay, I'm done. Just take it. And then the examiner came and then the examiner examined the whole thing. And then he says, if you can do this in addition, I will give you a 9 now. But then you promised me you use 2 weeks to work on this in addition. I'm like, if I don't do it, he said, I'll give you an 8.5. I'm like, it's okay. Just give me the 8.5. I like it. I like the recommendation you've given me. I will look at it later on if I want to maybe publish this week or not, but I'm not ready to continue. Yeah. I was so satisfied with myself that the work I did. And you see, at that point, I was not actually about the grade again. It was the fact that I had learned to do qualitative data analysis so well that I did it so much well that I felt like I could do it again. Like I felt I was on top. And right after that thesis, I got offered a research assistant position.
Congratulations.
That was things worked out. When I focused and I excelled at it. But many of us in the community don't realize this. We get stuck on making money. Somebody is in class and he is looking at the time. I have to catch the bus around this time and then go to work and then come back before you come back from work. So even after class, this person didn't manage to sit and pick the pen and paper and say, what did I pick from the class today? What didn't I understand very well today? What was they trying to say that I didn't go well? Okay. I later read about some of these things, to jot down and map something. Nobody does it. You don't even have this. I mean, sometimes you don't need to jot it down. Sometimes just the time that you have after class, walking about with a free mind or mind of nothing on it, you realize your mind is thinking about some of these things, but
you're not talking about this. I've got a hot take, and I do not know if a lot of people are going to agree with it. Many Africans that come here treat school as a door towards working in Europe instead of a school. We come here and they're like, I was working at home, or let's say I was studying at home. I left everything I had back there, which is the reason why a lot of people don't care about friendships and social circles here, because they think school, 2 years, is going to be my only door towards working in Europe. And they've got a chance to actually work, even if it is in a cafe or a warehouse. I don't really care that much about school. And then they go home. If I had to put two things on a balance, working and also revising, it's a no-brainer that I'm going to choose working. And then academics fall apart. And then the work fall apart. The social life falls apart. I think it's that reason. Do you agree with it?
100%. The last recording that I did, I was telling somebody, the person that I hosted, that so people who have finished PhDs and they've taken jobs in warehouse. I've seen people who have finished PhD and taken works as chefs. And for me, for the lack of a better word, it's disgusting. It's a different situation when you finish a PhD and you take those work for, let's say, whilst you're looking for a job, right? And you are making money. I mean, something to survive, or you say, okay, I'm going to do this and get some money and go back home and invest. But to finish a PhD and you say for the rest of your life, you are going to work in a warehouse as somebody picking up and dropping those kind of things. I think it's that kind of thinking. It means you didn't even have an education at all, for the lack of a better way. You are not educated. In fact, in the words of one of my teachers, you are an educated illiterate.
Yeah, that should be a quote.
Because how on earth would you finish a PhD? And for me, I'm not being sacked from Ghana.
Yeah.
And if I go to Ghana with as low as 5,000 euros, it might not be money here, but I probably can start something small. There's little bit. I don't have to live in Accra anyways when I go to Ghana. I don't have to live in a city. With a little bit, I can go back somewhere else and start and turn it around because of the knowledge I have and those kind of things. I find it humiliating, actually, that I will finish a PhD and I am not done with my PhD. And I know people will disagree with me, but I would not. I mean, I'm not saying for a year after your PhD, when you're looking for a job, you are here searching for a job and those kind of things. You can do certain things to pay your bills, of course. But after that, to say that the entire work I'm going to do just to stay in Europe is to be working in a warehouse and lifting boxes and those. What happened to the education you came to get?
And blame it on circumstance. Yeah, I know.
And that is entirely the thing. So, that thinking starts when they come to do the schooling.
Yeah.
The whole point is they start, and it's the warehouse work, it's this, instead of focusing and for us to build your skills, it is those kind of things we are doing. You end up, you finish, you don't even have confidence in yourself.
Yeah. I've seen these people.
People finish and they don't even have confidence in themselves, and that all they can do is this. So for many of them, it's not also because there is anything really, really hard back home that when they go, they will not survive or anything. For many of us, it is because we didn't focus in the education. So the confidence of going back and thinking, or even not like going back, like confidence of even going to look for a better job here, like walking to a big office to say, I belong here. This is where I should get a job. They don't have it. So I've seen people who have done with their masters 5 years here and they are still, for Christ's sake, they're just walking around. I don't want to, because maybe it's going to punctify, but they're not doing anything meaningful with their lives. And for the women, they end up marrying some old Dutch guy, and that's just it.
Wow, you've seen a number of half Africans, half Dutch people here, especially in Wageningen. It's getting crazy. I've made, this week I'd say more than 5 families. And I was like, okay, wow, the Dutch African connection is getting bigger. And then when I was talking to another friend of mine, it was like, do you think so? Or it's just survival? And that was the occasion to digest. To this day, I'm still thinking it's probably survival.
Especially among the Nigerians.
Yeah.
The lactation among the Nigerians. That is what they do. They just have to survive. Hey, for document, I made a post 3 days ago on Facebook. And then I said that I am not where I am in life yet. I'm not even done with my PhD, but my self-actualization in life would never include holding another country's passport and boasting about it. There are different circumstances. Like maybe I get married, I meet a very beautiful Dutch lady, very calm, I get married and those kind of things. But it is not going to be my self-actualization, like something that I am so daring to get, dreaming to get, that, in fact, instead of going home, I want to find a Dutch woman and marry at all cost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had to break up with very beautiful people that came into my life, like Ghanaians born here, born ladies born to Ghanaian parents, both Ghanaian parents. Two, actually, because they were looking at me with that kind of angle. I am going to marry you and give you the document. So I'm like, no. The moment that kind of perspective comes in, I'm like almost already a slave to you. But I have not been sacked from my country.
Yeah. Your team is gonna be cut short. It's much better if you look about somebody to internally promote. And they say, "Oh, you're leaving." I said, "Yeah." They say, "Oh, you should give me a link." And I'm like, "Bro, you're a supervisor here, right? You've got keys. It's not like even adjustable. You've got keys, and you're telling me to actually give you a link." He's been outside school. He graduated back in 2020. He got his job in COVID. You know how lucky that is. And then he's looking to escape a country in which he's established with a 5 years of working experience as a supervisor in a producing industry. And I was like, come on, man. I mean, I couldn't say that to himself, to his face, but that's the thing we should actually try to delete among African brains, because the survival doesn't lie outside the continent. It doesn't.
It's been more than an hour.
Wow.
This was going to be a 30 minutes meeting, but so it's been a nice conversation. And you are a busy man, so I don't also want to keep you for that long. And I've already kept you for an hour. We thank you for being here and sharing your truth with us. And we really hope that we can host you again very soon. We really do hope. And maybe that time when you come, I will be able to cook. I will not be in a rush.
Yeah, that's okay.
And host you properly. You try Ghanaian food, you know.
I just found another difference between the Ghanaian and the Nigerian jollof.
Oh, found another difference. Eh?
No, I don't even know the difference. Yeah.
Don't worry. And then once you taste it, you tell the difference. Yeah, let's make time for that. For me, for the remaining months, I have told my supervisors I'm going to work 4 days in a week. So Fridays free for me. And now almost. So I have 3 days weekend, you know, kind of things.
Yeah, I can make time in weekends because Saturdays usually for me, I don't like doing anything on Saturday because I leave everything about next week on a Sunday and I leave everything about the previous week on a Friday evening. Saturday is just cleaning my house, ordering my house around, talking to family and just, relax so I can make time on Saturdays.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much. And then we host you again.
I'll be here again.